Episode 4, Talk Dalton. How are you doing this week?
It's a good week, very productive week. We have guests with us this week. We got Tyrese Haliburton. For everybody that doesn't know Tyrese, he just declared for the NBA draft. Oshkosh native. Tyrese, you want to give a little bit of background on yourself?
I mean, yeah, like you said, I've lived here my whole life. Graduated from Oshkosh North in 2018. Went to Iowa State, played there for 2 years. And I just, like you said, forgoing my college eligibility to, go to the NBA and chase, my lifelong dream.
Mm-hmm. So how long have you been playing basketball for?
I probably picked up basketball up when I was like 2 or 3. My dad coached a girls basketball team, ever since I was born. So I just been around him in the gym all the time, and probably just picked the basketball up, just being at, the girls basketball practice.
Sure.
Right.
Started off with the girls basketball team.
Yeah.
Now you're about to be in the NBA. That's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's really exciting. I mean, that's a big thing for Oshkosh people too. I don't think we've ever had somebody come from Oshkosh. Have we? Do you guys know of anyone?
I don't think so. No, I think I'm the first one.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's been my dream, my whole life, something that I've chased, and now that I have the opportunity to do it, like, I'm just trying to be my best at it, because I hope that there's any other kids that come after me and that's their dream, or even if it's not, if they have a dream that people might say is unrealistic, to a point that they continue to chase what they love to do.
Absolutely. You're a huge inspiration for people.
Right, for sure.
Well, and the other thing too, so there's one part of it where just being an Oshkosh resident, it's cool to see somebody from Oshkosh make it. But the thing that makes your scenario so cool is that for people that don't know Tyrese, you're like one of the most like genuine, nice, humble people that I've probably ever met in my entire life. So seeing someone like yourself like be very successful in that way, like everybody's kind of cheering you on. You don't really have a whole lot of people that are like, oh, screw that guy. You know, like you're not a lot of people have bad things to say about you. So it's really cool to see someone like yourself like really make it, and you got a lot of people rooting for you.
Yeah,
which is super cool.
Yeah.
Another thing that I can say is cool about it is I've been friends with Tyrese since kindergarten, and this truly has been your lifelong dream. Like, it was always the same. A lot of people throughout their years, they switch. Oh, I'm going to be this when I grow up. Oh, I'm going to be this when I grow up. But Tyrese, ever since I knew you, was NBA, and now we're here.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has, like, crazy dreams. Like, I'm going to be an astronaut or, you know what I'm saying? And, like, it seems like teachers, like, once you get older, it's always like pick something that's realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's always been the saying. And like, I can still remember middle school, high school, I'm like, I'm gonna be a professional basketball player, and they're like, pick something realistic. But I'm like, this is realistic for me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it is big, for me and my family, for sure.
I think that's a really important message that shouldn't be understated whatsoever, because I feel like that's very often something as people go out throughout school, they're told. It's like they're kind of like shot down when they dream really big, and the school system's kind of set up that way, where you go through, not to get into that too much, but your message, I think, is going to be really powerful for people, because you're living proof that, like, hey, dream big, you can like actually do it. So as you were growing up and you've had this dream for a long time, have you had, any particular coaches that have been more influential or really like saw something in you? Did you have any particular people that, you've worked with more than others, or is there anyone that, comes to mind for that? Or, I mean, I know you've worked with multiple coaches and trainers and whatnot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would say, like, obviously Frank Shady being the Oshkosh, legend that he is, like, growing up, like, something that Coach Shady has done in Oshkosh that is not done in a lot of cities is he lays the groundwork for you when you're like 6, 7 years old. Like, I don't think you start basketball camp for Oshkosh North until you're like 6 or 7, but I started when I was like 4 or 5. So, like, he lays the groundwork for you to do the right things and, to set you up to, be the best player you can.
Absolutely.
And so I would say he had a big in my foundation of my game. Then transitioning to Coach Weber my senior year was big too, just because Weber, being my teacher in communities and teaching me for 4 years, like, we had a really close relationship. So, that was big for me too, is, kind of have two different perspectives as a high school coach. Obviously Coach Shady being, old school and doing what he does. And then, Coach Weber being, more newer. He wants to try different things, trying to adapt to different things, that helped too. But I'd probably say most influential, other than Shady and Weber, would be, Coach Brian Jonikin. He's known as Coach B in the Milwaukee area, but I met him when I was 14. I kind of, I was always like one of the better players in the state, and I kind of leveled out kind of like late middle school. I was kind of starting to not necessarily decline, but everybody was getting a lot better, and I was kind of even where I was. I was still the best around here, but when you play around the country, I really couldn't play with the best. So that was really frustrating. But when I met Coach B when I was 14, he always stressed to me like that he thinks that I can be really, really good, and just follow his lead and trust him, trust in myself, and trust the process, and trust your work. So that's all I did is just outwork people. That's how I got to where I am. Just like I'm sure that's how you guys get to where you are. And every successful person in the world, they just are going to outwork other people. So there's no like special ingredient to how I got here. I just outworked people, and I think those three coaches had the biggest impact on my game for sure.
Absolutely. Well, and I think, obviously you are extremely athletic, you're very tall and whatnot. But you do kind of have the disadvantage, like you're trying to bulk up right now, right? Mm-hmm. So, is that like kind of a disadvantage for you that you're like not like, are you not at a certain weight that you're supposed to be at or something like that? Or is that something that you're kind of working against, or is that an obstacle for you right now?
Right. Yeah. I mean, growing up when I was younger, my dad never wanted me to lift. Okay, I didn't want to lift. Let's get that out of the way. I didn't want to lift in the first place. But even if I tried to, my dad really wasn't allowing me because I think he was kind of scared that it would like maybe stunt my growth or something like that. So I wasn't allowed to lift weights like that. It was like
that was kind of a funny myth going around for a while.
Yeah, so I was like doing push-ups and stuff like that, but still probably not as much as I had to. I've always just been a skinny kid. That's my frame. Mm-hmm. When you're younger, even in high school, like skill is pretty much going to outweigh strength, but all the way up to a point. Like when I got to college, I had to put on weight because that was the only way I could really survive. Like I was 18 years old when I got on campus, and Mario Shayak, he's one of my best friends. He was at Iowa State when I got there. He's 23. Mm-hmm. So that's 5 years. You know what I mean? Like he's got grown man strength already. He's in a grown man body. I'm 18 years old. So I had to get stronger to survive. And like I'm still wasn't one of the strongest guys, but like strong enough to hold my own, really. I was 155 when I got to college, and I was 170 by my first college game.
How tall?
6'5".
6'5", went in at 155.
Yeah, so I was 155 when I got to school. So I gained 15 pounds. I had a really busy summer going into my sophomore year. So I was like 175, my sophomore year, but playing weight, I still only played at like 170, 168. Okay. So like it wasn't like I really gained a lot of weight freshman to sophomore year. But right now I've been in the weight room crazy, more than I've ever been in my life. 2 months, 6 days a week, just grinding it out. Like I might not love it, but I have to learn to, because that's what's going to allow me to be the best player I can, maximize wealth, put my family in the best situation, in the long term. So, right now I'm around like 182, 183. So I've gained like another 15 pounds in 2 months, which is really good. And like I still have, the draft isn't until October, so still got a lot more room to get to where I want to get to. So, that's a real big knock on my game, has been my whole life, is that I'm just not strong enough. But, that's what I've really been putting a lot of work on. Also gaining skill at the same time. Obviously, that's needed. Look at a dude like Kevin Durant. He's not one of the strongest, but he's one of the most skilled ever, and that's what makes him great. Sure. So I obviously have to, do that too. But strength is a big aspect of the game, and now I'm going into a league where I'm 20 years old, and there are 38, 39-year-olds in the league. They got kids, you know what I'm saying? Like they have kids who are in high school. Like it's crazy to think about, but that
years younger.
Yeah, so that is what it is. So that's the world I'm going into, and just got to prepare for that.
Absolutely. Well, and it's funny too, because so I think that's actually a interesting way that you put that, where the skill and the talent will get you through your high school years and whatnot. Once you take it to that next step of college, that's when it starts being more important. But then at that point, you have those coaches that are there to help you with that. So you've got those resources. So you've definitely taken the route you needed to get to where you are, and then you've got those resources available once you take it to that next level. Obviously if you're trying to bulk up, one of the bigger parts is probably gonna be your diet.
Yeah.
Do you have like a nutritionist you're working with, or what are you doing for
So
that?
my agency has put me in contact with a nutritionist, but my older brother Tanner, he lives with me, so he's gonna live with me when I go play in the NBA as well. But right now he's kind of working as my chef, so
that is awesome.
He goes and he like the nutritionist basically tells us like what I should be eating throughout the day,
Sure.
like 5 meals, whatever the case may be. This protein, she sends me the protein that I need, or whatever, what I should be having for breakfast. And so Tanner goes out and gets the groceries on the weekends, makes it every day. He makes Jade, my girlfriend, lives with me as well, so he makes us meals every night. For lunch, for breakfast. I eat same breakfast every day. It's like 5 eggs, like a toast and orange juice, like every morning. So it just
But you never get sick of that.
yeah, no, never. But it is good to have my brother cooking for me, because if he wants to make something that I don't like, I can tell him like, I ain't gonna eat it, so you better make something that I like. But no, the diet is definitely a big part of it. That's what's helped me get. I've never ate like this either. Like on top of never lifting like this, I've never ate like this either. But it is a difference, because I think people are like, why can't you do that in college? But in college, like, you're so busy throughout the day. Like, I have class, like after class, like I have to eat before I work. You know what I mean?
You're
you
a student athlete.
Yeah, you have other
Absolutely.
things you got to take care of. Whereas now, basketball being my full profession, like, it's my obligation. Like, I need to lift to perform at the highest level at my job as I can. So it's all a part of it. It's an awesome job to have, but but it also being me, I don't like to eat like all that, so it sucks at the same time. But I mean, like, life could be a lot worse. So it's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So going off of that, you were talking about eating more than you ever have, lifting more than you ever have. Those are two things that you're doing to take your game to the next level. What are some things that you're doing already, or that you anticipate coming up in your life you're gonna have to level up in as well to go to that next level of the NBA?
You're saying on the basketball side of things?
Both life, court.
Yeah, I mean, obviously investing in my community is important to me. People know how important Oshkosh is to me. It's my life. It's where I grew up, obviously. So, like, I want to, give back to school, have events here. Obviously, we're in a crazy time in our world right now. So, like, the money is not exactly, what it would be in a normal time, or like we're just unprecedented time right now. So it's a little different, but, I'm trying to invest in my community as much as I can, get involved, do things here, off the court. But on the court, maybe doing things like camps or even anything in my community to, grow, the basketball world,
sure.
where we're from. But on top of that, just like I said, getting better every day, as myself, because I'm not going to be able to do those things if I'm not the player that I need to be. Like, I'm not going to have the resources, the money to do what I want to do in my community if I'm not the best player, that I can be. So it is important to me right now to keep doing that, because that's got to get taken care of first before, I'm really allowed to take care of the community or anything like that.
For sure. So anyone that was following your season this year, you ended the season out with a wrist injury, and they always say that in every disadvantage, or I don't know exactly what it is, in all darkness there's like a door with there's a door with light behind it.
Right.
What was the blessing that you found in disguise in that wrist injury to end your season this year? Yeah,
I mean, just being involved in different ways. I fractured my wrist in early February to where I wouldn't be able to play no more. So we still had a month and a half left of the season, so that was really hard for me. It was, thank God I have the support system that I do to get through that, because I've never missed an extended period of time in basketball. I've really never missed a game of basketball like my whole life. So it was really, really different. It's never happened to me before, knock on wood. But I had to find different ways to be involved. I had to kind of be like a player coach. You know what I mean? It was important for me to be at all the practices. It was important for me to be with my guys and talk and tell them what I see on the sideline, because it's a lot easier to tell somebody something to do when you're on the sideline, because you see everything, right? So just trying to be involved in that way, as I can. But then you kind of got to see, the people that are really behind you when you're hurt, you know what I'm saying?
Of course, sure.
That helped me kind of weed out the bad ones at the same time. But it was definitely a crazy time. Like, what do I do when I'm not playing basketball? I'm usually playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
My wrist was broken. I couldn't play video games for a couple weeks. So, like, I had to sit around and watch reality TV with Jade. Like, that's just what I had to do.
After
You know what I'm saying?
Pick up a book, huh?
Yeah, no, I definitely did not do that. So,
Speaking of video games, plug your Twitch.
oh, yeah, Tyrese Haliburton on Twitch.
Yup.
Subscribe to me. I'm nice. But, yeah, no, just find different things to do, get involved in different things. But, yeah, it definitely was a crazy time.
Mm. So did you, after you had just the wrist injury, or did you have an ankle injury or something?
No, it was on my wrist. I
It was just
originally
the
hurt
wrist.
my wrist right before New Year's Eve. It was partially fractured, but we only did an X-ray. So, like, I played through it. I taped it all the way up until February. Fell on it, trying to block a shot. Tried to catch myself. Came down.
Mm-hmm.
Fractured it for real. Couldn't even move it or anything like that. Didn't need surgery or anything. It healed with time, but yeah, that's all that happened this year.
Sure. So then with, going through that injury, obviously with your career moving forward, your asset is your body.
Yeah.
You have to be able to function across the board.
At the highest level.
At the highest level. So after getting injured, did you kind of, you said you don't really like, some of the nutrition part and hitting the weight room. Did you kind of see like did you value that a little bit more, like that self-care and taking care of your body and like making sure that you're not going to become injured? Is that something you're more conscious of than you were in high school? Or
Yeah, I mean, no question. Because as an athlete, we get paid a lot of money to perform at the highest level. But you have to we put our bodies online, so you have to take care of your body to perform
Right.
at that level. So taking care of my body is really an investment on my future when you think about it. Because realistically, in the game of basketball, like the average career is probably like 6 to 8 years, but like the best who do it, like Kobe, Vince Carter, those dudes played 20 years. They're retired at the age of 40. So you still, like, I don't know what average life expectancy is, but 50 years, to where you're not working, you know what I mean? So you got to find different things to do. So taking care of my body is really important because I want to play for 20, 21, 22 years. That's my ultimate goal, is to play as long as I can. So, that definitely is a part of it. Like, I might not like the nutrition, but you have to do it because you have to take care of your body the right way. Like, you look at, they say LeBron invests $1 million into his body, a year. That's crazy to think about, but that's what allows him to, be the best in the world at, the age he is. So that's important to me, is just to keep investing in my body and keep taking care of it so that I can, be the best I can, in the future and do what I want to do in life.
Absolutely. I think looking at that bigger picture is sometimes, even at the gym, when we have just clients that come in that are just looking to shred some weight or something, when you look at the bigger picture of it, like, hey, you want to have energy to even just to keep up with your grandkids. When you look at it from that perspective, instead of just, hey, I've got to hit the gym, don't look at it from that 1 hour time period, but you look at, hey, this is a bigger thing, like you want to live longer. You want to have more energy when you're older. That definitely helps fuel that motivation so that you can get to the gym. You're doing those steps,
Right, no question. No question.
Yeah.
That is 100%.
Yeah. So, given that this is a gym podcast, I kind of want to ask you a little bit of specifics about what your training and what your diet is, like what they're actually having you do. So, like, starting with the diet, you're trying to bulk up. What are you weighing in at right now?
Around like 182. I just weighed in at on
182?
Friday. Yeah.
Okay. So what do they have you, like, what are your macros like? Do you know that off the top of your
No,
head?
I don't know any of that off the top of my head. I'm gonna be honest with you, because it's like, because what they, like, my brother Tanner is in touch with the nutritionist. So what I do is I just do what they tell me to do.
Okay.
Like, I wish eventually I'm going to have to learn this stuff, because Tanner's not going to be around forever, because I'm going to have to, take care of the things myself. But, like, there are, like, a lot of different things that I'm, focusing on in different aspects, like even sleep. Like, I never, like, in high school, sleep wasn't a thing.
Absolutely.
Like, I would go to bed at like midnight, 1 o'clock. I lived right down the road from school, so I'm waking up at 8. I got class at 8:23. Like, that's just how it went. Whereas now, like, I be so tired. Like, it's important that I try to get around more than 8 hours of sleep a night. Like, I try to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. That's important to me, because I've noticed, even in college, that's when I really took focus on it, was like how that helped me, athletically and on the court, and even in my daily life, like, just be better, less of an attitude, just be a better person was the more sleep I got. So that's something that's really important to me. But in terms of like macros and like exactly what we're doing on the protein side of things, like I truly do not know. Like I just do it.
Sure.
I'm told, but I need to know for
You've
sure.
probably got a lot thrown at you right now, a lot of new stuff that you're having to adjust to, and that's can't be something you can really take in all at once, I would imagine.
No, life is really crazy right now. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of different things going on. Like I just roll with the punches and keep it moving. You know
Absolutely.
What about workouts?
Well, I mean, okay, so my workout schedule is I wake up at like 8 o'clock. I lift at 9. At 10 o'clock, I live in Milwaukee now, so I go to a place called Elite Nutrition after my workout, 10:30-ish, and I get a protein shake. Just like it's like strawberry and banana whey protein, honey, strawberries, mango, pineapple, orange. I like fruit in my shake, so I do all that. Get this big shake, drink that before my basketball workout at noon. Go home, might nap for a little bit, Twitch for a little bit, play the game or something like that. Sit around the house, and then I go back and work out around 7 or 8. Get back around 10. Then I'll probably have I'll have a protein shake and another snack. Obviously, I ate a lot in between my workouts. I forgot to mention that. But then eat some before I go to bed. I have a night protein shake that I drink right before I go to sleep. Wake up in the morning, repeat every day. So that's my daily schedule, Monday through Friday. Saturday, I work out at 10 o'clock, and I work out at noon. And then I will either come back to Oshkosh or just sit around, in Milwaukee for the rest of Saturday and my Sunday. And so my only off day is Sunday, really.
You work out at 10 o'clock and at noon?
Yeah.
Just back to back like that?
Yeah. I go get a protein shake again. But like on Saturdays, my workout at 10 is more like hip mobility stuff, core workout, stuff like that. And then noon is more like just shots, just like, working on your form, fine tuning, just like little things like that. But yeah, it is a crazy schedule that I'm on right now.
Sure. So you were saying before we started the podcast that you're gonna be moving out to Las Vegas soon. You're doing some training out there. Can you talk about what that entails?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Milwaukee right now. I mean, obviously it's a weird time. I would be in LA with my agency where they usually do our pre-draft training if times were normal, but they're not at this point in time. So I knew Steve Becker at Athlete Performance. That's where I'm working out. But I moved out to Milwaukee to be closer to him, and that was the only access I really had to a gym 2 months ago because we were still on lockdown to do anything. So, I'm out there, but they're moving me to Las Vegas, in the middle of July to where I'll be training there for 2-3 months until the draft in October. I'm sure they'll let me come home a little bit in between, but yeah, I mean, I'll be out there just working like a dog, just doing my job out there. So it is definitely a crazy, weird time.
Sure. So draft is in October. What is there anywhere you are hoping you're going to? Is there any teams that are showing more interest than others, or what are you thinking?
No, I mean, I'll be happy wherever I go. I mean, it's just been my lifelong dream to, be in the NBA. I guess like there are, a couple teams that I have had meetings with, thus far. Just in the early stages, the Warriors and the Knicks. But, we'll see what else goes on these next couple of months. I mean, there's really a lot of time. I guess a lot of the NBA is worried about the restart going on right now, restarting the end of July. So once that picks back up and, everything's doing fine that way, I'm sure, the draft will become more of a priority. But they're obviously really focused on getting this season, played and things like that.
Well, I think that'd be a good place to wrap up. I think we could have you back on after the draft. We could kind of talk again. I got a couple questions, just quick ones. Just top threes. Who are your top 3 players of all time? Just to wrap us up.
Mike, Brown, and Kobe.
Top 3 shoes of all time, colorway, whatever.
Colorway included?
Yep.
Concord 11. Bread 1. I said bread 1. Yep, I'll go bread 1. And then I'll go Chicago 1.
Who's winning the ship this year?
Oh man, I don't know. There's 3 teams that I think have the best shot. Both LA teams and the Bucks. I wish I could say I was a Bucks fan growing up, but they weren't very good, so I was not. And I didn't jump on the bandwagon, but it would be cool to see a team from home win. But Been a Bron guy my whole life, so I'll say the Lakers.
Well, best of luck to you. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me.
Thanks for being on, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Episode 4. We'll see you guys next week.